Welcome to the Collegewise virtual college fair. Before we get started with our presentations this evening, just a few quick housekeeping items. The first is that you are welcome and encouraged to ask questions to any of the panelists via the Q&A button at any time during the presentations. We also want to remind you that your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists will not be able to see or hear you. And also, this is just one of many sessions being offered, so please feel free to sign up for additional sessions at the same registration website. And about 1 week from today, a recording of this session will also be available on that registration website. But without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our first presenter, which will be Bryant University.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Carone. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Admission at Bryant University. Thank you so much for joining us. Bryant University, we are located in Smithfield, Rhode Island, a campus of about 3,400 undergraduate students representing about 38 different states and 50 different countries. Our own little community within our town, a type of campus where you're going to see familiar faces from day to day, but also meet a lot of new people. I'm going to focus on some of the things that makes Bryant unique throughout this presentation. Please feel free to write in any questions in case I don't cover something you were curious about. The most important thing about Bryant's philosophy in regards to our academics and what makes us the most unique is our School of Business and School of Arts and Sciences integrated curriculum. So at Bryant, every student has a major and a minor, and every student is required to study in both the School of Business and the School of Arts and Sciences. So if your major is in one school, your minor is in the other. This really allows you to utilize both skill sets from the different schools, combine multiple passions, utilize both sides of your brain. And so to give you some insight into how this may look at Bryant, for example, a student may decide to major in the College of Business and Digital Marketing, minor in psychology, because they want to better understand how people think and apply it to their marketing techniques. So this really does allow students to tailor their academic experiences. We've also found that it really helps students when they're looking for internships and job opportunities stand out in the market. At Bryant, when you apply, you're not applying to a specific program, you're applying simply to the university. And so that allows students to major and minor in whatever they would like to, and also change their minds. We know sometimes in the first year, there's a lot more exploratory learning there. So you actually have up until sophomore year to declare your major, but we are, of course, interested in knowing what you'd like to study if there's something that you're interested in right off the bat. Another unique academic thing that we have at Bryant, we do have traditional study abroad, as most universities do. But we also have something called the Sophomore International Experience at Bryant. And what that is in your sophomore year, you can take an elective course that focuses on a specific country. And then you study that country for the semester. And at the end of the semester, for 10 to 14 days, you and your class actually go to that country to look at the things that you've been studying and meet with business executives there and alumni that live in that country. So this is a really great shortened cultural immersion experience. We truly want Bryant students to be global leaders. And so this does introduce students to that intercultural experience. But it also may reconfirm for students that they do want to do a traditional study abroad program as well. And we certainly encourage students to do that. About 50% of our students will go abroad at some time during their time at Bryant. If you were to meet a typical Bryant student, they're pretty involved. We find that our students, they're only in about 5 classes a semester, so that leaves a lot of extra time to be able to engage in their campus life experience. We are a Division I athletic school that also has club and intramural sports. So for student athletes on this, what that means for you is there's varied ways to stay involved in your sport. But if sports are not your forte, what that means for you is that Bryant is a school with a lot of school spirit. Our alum are very involved. We also have about 110 other clubs and organizations to be involved in, ranging from performing art groups to community service-based organizations, Greek life. Every semester we have an involvement fair, and we truly encourage students to also find their passions outside of their academics through their campus involvements. Bryant is also something that's really important to our culture is that we are a predominantly residential campus. About 95% of the first year class lives on campus, and about 80% of the entire student body lives on campus. We can provide housing for all 4 years, and most students do choose to live on campus for all 4 years, given the different varieties of housing styles that we have. We build a lot of living learning communities within our residence halls to really help first year students with their transitions. And again, because of their involvement, students really like to be on campus on the weekends. So we're certainly not one of those schools where students pack up on the weekends to head home. Students like to be on campus. We have several dining options on campus, a main dining hall that caters to all dietary restrictions. We also have a Dunkin' Donuts, a Subway, a pizza parlor on campus. But because we're only 15 minutes from Providence, which actually has the most restaurants per capita, there's also a lot of great restaurants right off campus. And first-year students are unfortunately not allowed to have cars on campus. So because of that, we provide several free transportation options to get students to where they need to go. So it is easy to get on and off campus for students who are looking to have that type of experience as well. One of the things that's most important at Bryant is how we prepare our students to be successful after they leave the university. And so this is something that we really start having students work with our career services in their first year at Bryant. About 87% of our students do at least one internship. Most of these internships are paid opportunities, which really allows our students to focus in on them. We have a fair every semester, internship and career fair, where about 400 employers come to campus to recruit our students. And we find that these internship and job opportunities are across the globe. So we truly can cater to different experiences that students are looking for. It's not uncommon for a student to have a summer internship in their junior year summer and to come back to Bryant before their senior year with a job offer already in place, which has really helped us with our 99% success rate with getting students either in graduate school or a job within 6 months of graduation, with the average starting salary of about $60,000. So our students are doing really great things with their education and then also able to apply those things when they leave Bryant. When thinking about applying to Bryant, I am the one who reads the applications for my territories, which is one of my favorite parts of my job. We are on the Common Application, so you apply right on there. We're a school where we only require one letter of recommendation from your school or guidance counselor, but that said, you can certainly provide us with more than one if you would like to. We also are a school and we're looking at transcripts. We aren't necessarily looking for perfection, we're looking for progression. So I want to make sure you're going to be academically successful at Bryant. So I'll look to see if you're around our 3.4 average GPA out of a 4.0 scale. But I'll also look to see what types of classes you're taking in the progression there. If you take an AP class and score a 3 or higher, those credits will transfer to Bryant. If you get a dual enrollment class with a C or higher, those will also transfer. We also review everybody who applies at Bryant for merit scholarship, no matter if you go test optional or not. So we are a test optional school. As you can see on there, our averages are listed, but we do review everybody for financial aid and merit scholarship opportunities with nothing additional. And we have several different deadlines for you to be aware of. I will put my information in this chat, but this is my contact information should you need to contact me after the fact. And I'd welcome any questions moving forward.
Great. Thank you very much, Bryant. Our next presenter this evening is Johnson & Wales University.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Renee D'Onofrio, and I'm joined with Min Dang. We're both admission representatives with Johnson & Wales University. I'm actually a proud alum of Johnson & Wales and am happy to be back representing Johnson & Wales in the California area, as is Min as well. But Johnson & Wales is a private, not-for-profit university. We've been in existence just over 100 years, started off as a business school and have grown to 6 schools and colleges with 2 campus locations. Our main campus is in Providence, Rhode Island, and we also have a campus in Charlotte, North Carolina. The great thing about having the 2 locations is once you're accepted to one, you're actually accepted at both of them. Our campus in Providence, we're right in the middle of the city, everything within walking distance. It's actually a nuisance to have a car on campus because you can walk to the restaurants, shops, the movie theaters, the Performing Arts Center. Great public transportation as well that allows you to travel up and down the East Coast and even to the beaches in Newport, Rhode Island. We were voted by Money Magazine as one of the top universities, and you can see this total number here. In Providence, just over 6,700 undergraduate students. We also do have a master's and some doctorate programs, but those they're not included in this number. So you'll definitely be a big fish in a small pond. And then our second location in Charlotte, North Carolina, very similar to Providence. We're right in the middle of everything. Charlotte's home to the 2nd largest contingency of Fortune 500 companies. So great opportunities for any of our students in the business program and within walking distance once again to everything. The Wall Street Journal ranked us as one of their top universities and definitely again on the smaller side with just over 1,500 students. But keep in mind again, you can go from one location to the other. Now this is a great website. If you have your phones handy, you can snap a picture of this. If you know what you want to major in, or maybe you don't, you can kind of find 2 areas that may have an interest. Hear from our alumni, look at career paths, look at the salary options. So it's a great website if you know what you want to do, or maybe if you're still kind of on the fence, trying to figure out what that next step is in your education. Now at Johnson & Wales, we have over 60 majors, 6 schools and colleges. All of our majors are listed here, and you can scan this QR code right now on your computer, and that will take you to learn a little bit more about the different majors. But we have arts and sciences, we have business, we have hospitality, engineering and technology, health and wellness, and then the College of Food Innovation and Technology. And that's really what has put Johnson & Wales on the map. We have one of the top culinary programs year in and year out worldwide. So anything to do with food, Johnson & Wales is your go-to university. If you're interested in nutrition, dietetics, culinary science, product development, performance nutrition, Johnson & Wales, once again, will be your go-to. Now, there's 3 parts of our curriculum at Johnson & Wales that are a little bit different from what a lot of the colleges and universities are doing. The first part of our curriculum is, as a freshman, as a sophomore, you're taking those classes that are specific to your major right from day one. So across the board, no matter what your major, you're immersed in those specific classes right from the very beginning. The second component is we really enjoy learning by doing. So not sitting in a lecture style class with 500 students and your professor telling you how things are doing, but we have that learning by doing. So we have labs that are available in Providence, no matter what your major. So a lot of your times are spent in these learning labs. Same thing with Charlotte, whether you're a fashion student, a beverage management student, science, technology, that whole hands-on learning style environment. And then across the board, we believe in internships where our students are out of the classroom working in their field of study. We start our networking with freshman year, with our freshmen talking with corporate recruiters about job opportunities, internships. Strong numbers here. 97.7% of our seniors that graduate are happy with where they're at, and 71% of them have a job offer from that company even prior to graduation. And over 1,500 companies are coming on campus to recruit our students. Small classes, again, with that really encourages that hands-on learning, the opportunity to talk with your professor. 18 students to 1 professor is the average. These are just some companies and some of our graduates for the internship opportunities. We do have study abroad. You can go as early as 2nd semester, freshman year. You can check out our website in our non-COVID year to see where we're going in countries that we're visiting. We find our students are more engaged. So over 150 clubs and organizations for the students to participate in, whether it be Greek Life, Pride Alliance, DECA, the face of the university through our collegiate ambassador team or student government. Lots of ways to get involved, lots of crossover opportunities as well. At Johnson & Wales, we have a variety of accommodations for housing, singles through quads, suite style, condominium living right in the center of the city. You name it, we probably have it with the dining hall attached. We are part of the NCAA in Providence, NAIA in Charlotte, quite a few different athletic programs, and you can go online and talk with our coaches about recruiting opportunities. Now, as I mentioned, Johnson & Wales is a not-for-profit university. 94% of our students do receive assistance. Our merit scholarships range from $7,000 to $21,000 and are renewable all 4 years. We also work with outside scholarships, the government on the FAFSA, and we have plenty of work study jobs if you're eligible for that. Check us out online. We have virtual tours. We have live daily digital tours. If you're interested in culinary, we have some cook-alongs where you cook from your home with our chefs. We're on the Common App. Our early action deadline is coming up. It's November 1st, or you can go right to our website to apply, but keep in mind that date. After that, our rolling admission deadline ends March 1st. We're AP, IB, so send us those scores if you do pass or any dual enrollment classes. Check us out online. Again, my name is Renee and I'm joined with Min. If we can help, please certainly feel free to drop a question in the chat box. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Johnson & Wales. Up next this evening will be Providence College.
All right, let me share my screen and we can get right to it. So my name is Matt Morano. I'm an Associate Dean of Admission at Providence College. And I think my job tonight is to kind of help define who PC is. It's kind of rare that I'm on one of these panels with so many other schools that are so close by to us. So you've already learned a lot about the city of Providence, which is great. Maybe I can add on to that a little bit. But I want to talk more specifically about who PC is and how you can come to define Providence College. So I think here's kind of the top-down overview, right? Here, the fast facts about PC. And the thing that I like to focus here is our overall size. So at 4,100 students, I think that kind of places us in this medium size of schools. I think 4,100 is a big enough size that you're going to see new people and new faces pretty much every day. But at the same time, it's a small enough atmosphere where that community experience is definitely a large part of your 4 years at PC. The average class size is 20 students, and so you're going to get to know your professors very well. And I think that most students really appreciate that balance of the bigger school feel, but at the same time, you're not sacrificing the academic experience in getting to know your professors really well. And I think people ask all the time, what's the most unique aspect, right? What makes PC stand out? And I think that's probably the easiest question to answer for me, because PC is the only school in the country that was founded and is still run by Dominican friars. So there are about 40 Dominican priests who live on campus. They do things that you might expect a priest to do. They say mass on Sunday. They teach religion classes. They also do things that you might not expect a priest to do. Like I've seen Dominicans paint their faces for basketball games. I've seen some start a food fight on campus. I can't reveal the identity of that Dominican because I would get in a lot of trouble. But he is a lot of fun on campus. And I think learning from the Dominicans is definitely a very unique perspective. It's fairly common that you'll find Dominican friars as professors in your philosophy or your theology classes. But Dominicans are professors in almost every subject area. So if you're a bio major, you may have Father Nick as a professor who's going to do some research about cancer cells. If you're taking theater classes, Father Gummert may be your instructor. So I think it's going to happen that you're going to have a Dominican as a professor at some point, and it's probably outside of the areas of philosophy or theology. And I think academically speaking, what makes Providence really unique and what makes the curriculum very unique is this class. It's called the Development of Western Civilization. We call it CIV for short. I feel like that's a lot easier to say. And CIV is a 2-year class that every single student takes at Providence College. So it's the only required course of everyone. It's also an interdisciplinary course, which means that there are a team of professors, usually 3, sometimes 4 professors, that come from the disciplines of philosophy, theology, literature, and history. And they're going to work together to walk you through the development of Western civilization. I know it's kind of redundant, but that's how it works. So you may see on the slide an example of some of the textbooks that you might use in this class. And I know that if you're interested in business or you're interested in the sciences, 2 years of philosophy, theology, literature, and history probably doesn't sound all that appealing to you. I totally understand that. And that's where the colloquium semester really comes into play. So this is the last semester of sophomore year, and you basically get to pick the topic. So you get to pick an area that you'd like to learn more about or focus a little bit more on. So there are 40 different colloquium topics that students get to pick from. This is just kind of a small example of some of the topics. And you get a new team of professors. So for example, this money, markets, and morality, the last colloquium on the slide, that's team taught by a finance professor and a theology professor. So you get to pick a topic that is a little bit more closely related to your major. And I think it does a good job of encompassing why what you've learned in Civ is important to your major, and more importantly, why it's important to what you're going to do when you leave PC for your job or for your career. I think overall, academically speaking, there's this sense of integrated learning at Providence. And what that means is that you're not just learning inside the classroom, but you're learning about yourself, you're learning about others, you're learning about the communities and the cultures that you're sharing this campus with pretty much all the time. So learning happens everywhere. And I think the easiest way to demonstrate this is in talking about study abroad. And so About 60% of our students will study abroad over the course of their 4 years. There's no major that would ever prevent someone from studying abroad. So regardless of what you end up studying, you can easily make this a part of your 4 years. And you can go basically wherever you would like. We've sent students to over 350 different programs across the globe. And like I said, there's no major that would ever prevent someone from going abroad. And you can go pretty much any time throughout the year. So it's not just limited to the academic year anymore. It's something that you can do basically at any point throughout the calendar year. Internships are also a huge piece. I think the fact that 96% of our students are doing internships is a huge part of Providence College. And undergraduate research is a big thing as well. So having 40% of students conduct research is not something that you typically find at a small liberal arts college. I think the thing I haven't mentioned about Providence that kind of makes us stand out is the fact that we are a Division I athletic school. I know that's not really unique. There are plenty of other D1 schools out there, but I think it is kind of rare for a school our size to have D1 sports. And on top of that, the fact that we're also pretty good in the sports that we offer. So that's, again, a nice balance between the academic experience and the big school feeling when it comes to athletics. You already heard a lot about the city of Providence, so I don't really need to add much upon that, but I think that's my time. So I will stop here and hand it over to the next presenter, and I'll be happy to answer questions in the chat afterwards.
Thank you very much, Providence. Our next presenter this evening will be Salve Regina University.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nick Albanese with Salve Regina University, located in Newport, Rhode Island. I'm a proud alumnus of Salve. I graduated back in 2012, and I've worked in admissions ever since. And in 2015, I moved out to the West Coast. So I work with many of our students from the Pacific time zone, as well as Mountain time zone. At Salve, we say that you will learn, lead, and make a difference. So in terms of making a difference, I always like to start out with our mission statement. The Sisters of Mercy founded us in the 1940s, and they gave us this mission. And the very first line that they chose to write was, "As a community that welcomes people of all beliefs." So I think that speaks to our inclusivity. We're very proud of our Catholic identity and heritage, and we are at the same time a very welcoming and inclusive community for all students of all backgrounds and faiths. Our very last line is, we work for a world that is harmonious, just, and merciful. We don't define what those terms are. We want students to come to their own conclusions, but some ways that we help students approach those ideas are by thinking about earth, immigration, nonviolence, the history of racism in the US and abroad, and women. And so we're always asking our students, what can you do to make a change in the environment around you? Do you have the confidence to do that? And if not, what do we need to do to help you to get that confidence? We have just over 2,100 students studying a little over 50 undergraduate majors, and we have a number of accelerated graduate programs as well. Some of our more popular majors include business, really anything in business, administration of justice, biology, chemistry. We are well known for our direct entry nursing program, where students begin taking nursing courses on day one. We guarantee the clinicals, so they will finish in 4 years. And we have high NCLEX pass rates, usually above 90% over the past 6 years. We also have some unique programs. We have a Bachelor of Arts in Dance, and we have a very cool program called Cultural and Historic Preservation. Students in that program study the built environment. They learn about objects, buildings, neighborhoods, the history of those things, how to preserve them, take care of them, advocate for them. So it's sort of like learning how to apply history. They take courses in archaeology. They may become museum docents or archaeologists. But it's kind of the perfect place to study cultural and historic preservation because we're located in one of the best kept historic districts in New England. We're in the Mansion District, it's often called, of Newport, Rhode Island. And our campus is a collection of estates, mostly from the 1800s, that we converted into one 80-acre campus right on the ocean. So we have mansions, barns, carriage houses, stables, and newer buildings. We're a level 2 arboretum. It's a very beautiful and inspiring place to go to college. It's an incredible place to study history and how to apply it, because sometimes you're actually studying buildings on your own campus. But in addition to all of that, we're an open campus. We don't have gates or walls. We're totally part of the neighborhood. And we're actually on an island in Rhode Island. There's bridges. It's very easy to get on and off. But there's about 25,000 year-round residents and our students. And our students feel very comfortable getting into the town, getting out of the bubble that sometimes college can become, interacting with students that are not just other college-age students, and really growing up and coming into their own, but always having their home base on campus. We're only about an hour and a half from Boston. You've heard so much about Providence, which is an incredible city, and that's about 40 minutes north of us. So Boston Logan International Airport has plenty of direct flights from most parts of the US. And then we have a local airport, TF Green, 20 minutes away for those shorter flights or for a layover. There's lots of things to do at Salve. We have 20 Division III varsity sports. We're very well known for our sailing program, in Newport, where we're located, is really the sailing capital of the world, or certainly one of them. We have lots of club activities and club sports. We are national champions in rugby a couple of times in the past 10 years. We have over 70 student-led organizations. We have the Pell Center for International Relations and Public Policy, which was founded by an act of Congress. And the Pell Center is a think tank that brings together thought leaders from our generation with community stakeholders and public policy experts to try to make changes. So we brought in speakers in the past few years like Dr. Cornel West, Senator John Kerry, Dr. Jill Biden, coming to the campus, and our students can be inspired by these folks and their stories. We always have events going on. We have students from over 40 states and 20 countries. So there's always something to do on campus, and students are not going home on the weekends. And there's actually lots of community service. All of our students do community service. They're required to do it, but I think they also want to do it. We give back over 15,000 hours a year with more than 60 organizations on the island right in our backyard. In terms of the admissions process, most students have between a B+ and an A- GPA. We are fully test optional. We've been test optional for nearly a decade. This year, we're also test optional for nursing and education. We are a member of the Common Application, so it's pretty simple to apply. There's no additional essays or supplements or anything like that. We will waive the fee for students that are coming outside of the Northeast. We have a number of deadlines. We have one coming up right on November 1. We also have January 5 and February 1. But the biggest difference really between these deadlines is the amount of senior grades that you want to be considered in the admissions process. So if you apply November 1, we're often seeing just your freshman through junior grades. And early action is non-binding, that first deadline coming up. We also provide scholarships for nearly all of our students, ranging from $12,000 to $25,000 in merit money alone. Need-based aid is available. We have lots of visit opportunities, so check out salve.edu/visit. And here's my contact information if you have more questions later on. But thank you very much for listening to me tonight, and I'll give it over to our next speaker.
Great, thank you very much, Salve. And our final presenter for the evening will be Quinnipiac University.
All right, thank you, Chris. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Tim O'Sullivan. I am the Senior Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Quinnipiac University. So I'm just going to highlight a few important features of the university and touch upon some things that are, some FAQs of students and families that I usually come in contact with. So where I usually like to start out with is just simply discussing the 3-campus layout that Quinnipiac has, because normally students are curious to know how all 3 campuses come into play for their overall experience at Quinnipiac. To start, our main campus, the main hub of Quinnipiac, is actually the Mount Carmel campus. So if you actually had the chance to come see us in person, or you've gone online and done some virtual tours, you'll see that this is considered the main hub of Quinnipiac. It's where first and second year students spend majority of their time, as all of their classes are held here, no matter what your major is. And first and second year students, residential housing is located here. This is where our library is, the main student center, where our Starbucks is located. 16 of our Division I athletic programs, athletic facilities are here. So you can see why we consider this to be the main hub. Starting your junior year, you will actually move up to the York Hill campus. And the York Hill campus is, I say up because it's actually perched up on a small mountain. So the views up here, as you can see, are really, really beautiful and scenic. But it is a non-academic campus. So it's strictly junior and senior housing that are all in the form of apartment style, much more modernized with small kitchens in their room. You have our People's United Center, which plays home to our other 5 Division I athletic programs, which is our Division I men's and women's ice hockey arena and our Division I men's and women's basketball arena. So it's set up like a split arena. And our acrobats and tumbling team actually has their meets on the basketball court as well. The third major feature of the York Hill campus is our Rocky Top Student Center. As you can see, everybody refers to this building as the ski lodge-like student center. It really does emulate a ski lodge. It has a large fireplace inside with leather couches set up like a lounge, dining hall, fitness center, study lounges. We just built a brand new bar and grill inside with 12 flat screen TVs, gaming rooms. So that's gonna be a great place for student run events. And you get some really great views out there on the deck area, as you can see. This campus is only a 2 to 3 minute shuttle ride right up the road. So you can hop on a Quinnipiac shuttle that runs every 15 minutes from the Mount Carmel campus back and forth to the York Hill campus. So these 2 campuses come into play for every single student at Quinnipiac. Now, this is our North Haven campus, which is the neighboring town over in North Haven, Connecticut. I know we're very unique with the naming of our campus here, but it plays home to our med school, our law school, School of Health Sciences, School of Nursing, and School of Education. So if you are interested in any of those areas, you could potentially be taking classes over on this campus, but that is not till much later on in your program, okay? So this is an upperclassman and graduate level campus. So we like to call it the suits and scrubs campus because majority of the time when you're over here, you're at the professional or the clinical stages of your programs. Now, similar to everybody else on the panel here tonight, we are, I like what my colleague Matt had mentioned, the SMedium. We're almost around that area as well. I would even lean a little bit more towards medium, as though we do have a little bit more undergraduate students, but we're around the nice round mark of 10,000 students. And what that enables us to do is have a really nice balance between academic life and student life, right? Campus life. So inside the classroom, you are never going to feel like a small fish in a giant ocean. Our average classroom size is 24 students and our student to faculty ratio is 16:1, and we do not have any lecture halls, and all of our classes are taught by professors only. So you're getting to develop a working relationship with these professors, and they're also serving as your advisors. So it's almost a really collaborative team kind of atmosphere at Quinnipiac with our faculty and our students. It's super hands-on. But outside the classroom, you have tons of stuff that make you feel like you're at a larger university. So we have 146 student-run clubs and organizations. So lots of stuff to get involved with, from cultural clubs to academic clubs to social clubs, whatever it may be that you're interested in being involved with. We're a very active and involved campus. 21 Division I sports with beautiful athletic facilities. So lots of school spirit and great sporting events to go to, club and intramural sports. Okay, we have Greek life that's very popular at Quinnipiac, but we don't have frat houses or sorority houses, so they're much more connected to the campus community. So they have a very strong presence on campus as well. So it's a great balance, again, between academic life and campus life. You know, it gives you the vibe that you're at a larger university outside the classroom, but within, you're going to know your professors by name and they will know you by name. We have 58 undergraduate majors to choose from, guys, loads of minors to choose from, and 17 dual degree programs, which make us very unique at Quinnipiac. Okay, so there's 9 total schools. I mentioned our law school and med school, but we also have our School of Education, which is a 4+1 master's degree program. So you're actually leaving in 5 years with your undergraduate degree in either an elementary ed area or secondary ed area, and then your master's of arts and teaching in your 5th year. School of Engineering, School of Health Sciences, School of Nursing, School of Communications, Arts and Sciences, and Business. So loads of options for you to choose from at Quinnipiac. And you can see our dual degree programs here that really make us stand out and make us unique and offer the opportunity for students and families to save a ton of time and money. As you can see, a lot of those 3+1 programs there are extremely appealing to students and families because you're able to earn your bachelor's degree in 3 years and your master's degree in the 4th. Now, a student does need to qualify for those, okay? So you will find out on your decision letter if you qualify. Now, this is pretty simple, straightforward for the application process, guys. There's 4 ways to apply. Early decision, deadline's November 1st. They get their decision letters in mid-December. Early action 1, which is the way I recommend most students apply, but you have to apply if you're applying to health sciences or nursing, is November 15th. Those students will get their decision letters next in mid-January. Early action 2 and regular decision, as you can see the deadlines there, that's really for students that maybe Quinnipiac got on their radar a little bit later on in the process, or they have been deferred because they applied to a super competitive program. Okay, we are a Common App university, and we are test optional in all of our majors except for one, which is our direct entry 6-year physician's assistant program. You are not at a disadvantage if you do not submit your test scores. Okay, we understand what you're all going through this year, so we are completely understanding and flexible with students. But thank you very much, and I'm going to pass it back over to our moderator.
Thank you very much, Quinnipiac. Thank you to all of our panelists. So we do have a little time remaining. Attendees, you are welcome to pose any questions you may have through the Q&A feature. And I might pose a question to our panelists while we're waiting to see what comes in. Perhaps you could answer one or both of the following questions. Given that 6 minutes is not a lot of time, what's one thing that you did not have time to talk about in your presentation today, whether that be an event or tradition or special program, etc., on your campus? And/or what's a frequently asked question that you receive that you'd like to address? So we'll go in that same order. So why don't we start with Bryant?
Sure, thank you so much. So yeah, 6 minutes, hard to encapsulate all of the amazing things about our universities, but I think one of the things that I've got a lot of questions about, and just given the circumstances of what's happening in the world, is how Bryant has responded to COVID-19. And so Bryant actually is totally in person currently, and I know especially for some of those California students maybe on this call that might be shocking to you, but our campus really was kind of prepared for this type of experience given our small size. And so we've really truly been able to replicate the majority of our academic and campus life experiences just on a smaller scale. And all of our students get tested weekly, so that's really helped us stay ahead of it. So we're looking forward to a successful year at Bryant. And if you are more local, we are welcoming in-person visitors, but we also have a lot of virtual opportunities for students to take advantage of. Panels, you can also do a day with class with us and Zoom in and see that. So really encourage you to check out our website and look at the different visit opportunities that we have given everything that's going on.
Great, thank you. Johnson and Wales?
Just to kind of piggyback what Amanda was saying about the COVID and how it's impacted our students, when we sent our students home in March, we actually, because we're a very hands-on university and heavy on the labs, our students actually were invited back to finish up those lab sessions in July. So they participated in the lab sessions from July through the middle of August. And then we indeed welcomed all of our lab students back for the start of the academic year, as well as all of our freshmen. So we've been very lucky. We haven't had too many cases on campus at all. We were able to complete that entire summer session once again and start strong with the academic year. But I would say that another strong feature about Johnson & Wales is, the networking. So our students are starting that whole networking process, talking with recruiters from the corporate world, no matter what your major is, right from freshman year. And that's part of that whole 3 components to our curriculum. So that networking, you're talking with the hiring managers freshman year. They're coming back on campus various times freshman year. So you have the opportunity to be in front of them so many times. And that repeats itself sophomore year. Junior year comes around with that internship, and you've already made so many connections with those hiring managers. So I really think that is one of the successes that our students get to participate in that really set them apart from the competition.
Great, thank you. Providence?
Yeah, so I think that there's obviously applying to college right now is a little bit of a crazy time, right? I mean, not necessarily even applying to college, just like life in general right now is not exactly, what everyone is used to, not very normal. I think, one of the things that hasn't changed in our review process, I know Tim mentioned this too, but, we're a test optional school. And, we've been that way for 15 years. Test score has never really been the big piece of how we review applications. I think, we can make a pretty good discernment of your fit to our campus from the 3.5 years that you've spent in high school versus the 3.5 hours that it takes for you to take a test on Saturday, or even now it's like 4 hours or longer than that. So that's cruel and unusual punishment. No one likes that. But I think, in terms of this year and how we're going to read applications and what we're doing differently, we were pretty excited to announce that for this next incoming freshman class, we're going to pay for everyone's textbooks. And so I think, it's kind of little things like that make me happy to work at PC, that we're kind of like, trying to pay attention to every family's needs and like what is currently happening right now. So we're going to try to make this like as easy as possible for people. And so I think, that's something that I know our current students really appreciate. And I think that we're excited to kind of offer to our incoming freshman class. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. Salve?
Yeah, well, just to echo many of my co-presenters, we also are pretty much fully in person. Some classes are hybrid, but the majority of our students are on campus and the majority of our classes are in person. And I think we've had a pretty successful reopening and students really sticking to that honor code. But then in addition to that, another thing I'd like to mention is just the level of interaction that our students have with our small New England town. I think it's such a key part of the Salve experience. We're one of the biggest economic drivers in the wintertime when the tourists go away from Quinnipiac Island where we're located. But a cool example I like to point out of our interaction with the community is a coffee shop downtown. It's in this building from the 1600s. And so on the first floor, you'll see our students studying, hanging out, off campus, maybe working a second job behind the counter. On the second and the third floor, you may see some of our upperclassmen renting an apartment from some of the locally owned landlords and, learning how to pay a power bill and sign a lease and kind of get that independence. And in the basement, you might see our cultural and historic preservation students down there learning how to do archaeology and surveying a site and digging up artifacts. So that's just one building, but there's so many examples like that in the city of Newport, and it makes it a really cool place to grow up and kind of apply what you're doing in a real setting.
Great, thank you. And Quinnipiac.
Thank you, Chris. Actually, similar to what Nicholas was just speaking about, I know 6 minutes, and like Amanda mentioned, 6 minutes is tough to get everything you want to speak about in there. But I just wanted to speak directly about our location, because I think we are really strategically located for students to not only have a great off-campus life in terms of social life, but in terms of internships and, getting your foot in the door for potential employment. We are located in Hamden, Connecticut, which is a suburb of Connecticut. But our main campuses are surrounded by a state park. So it's actually very beautiful, scenic New England, kind of rural feel. The mountain across the street is called Sleeping Giant Mountain with 15 different hiking trails. I go there every weekend with my brother and my nieces, and we have a great time up there. But again, we're in a suburb. So 10 minutes down the road is your traditional kind of shopping centers and restaurants to go to. And then 15 minutes away from the Mount Carmel campus, which is the main campus, is the small city of New Haven. Which is a great social scene for our students in terms of just, kind of like a college town vibe down there, because there are loads of universities surrounding New Haven. You have Quinnipiac, Southern Connecticut State, University of New Haven, of course, Albertus Magnus College, which is a small Catholic school down there. And then I'm sure you've all heard of Yale. It's a small little tiny Ivy League that's located right in the heart of New Haven. So you can imagine what New Haven looks like, right, on a weekend. So that's a great kind of scene for our students, and something fun and different, to experience. But then on a grander scale, we are actually smack dab in the middle of New York City and Boston. You can hop on a train from New Haven and be in New York City or Boston very easily, both in less than 2 hours, which is really advantageous for our students in terms of internships, getting your foot in the door for potential employment and building up that resume while you're with us. We are an experiential learning university, so we're all about that.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of our panelists for your additional insights this evening and your great presentations. Before we wrap up, We just want to thank all of our attendees for joining us, and just let you know you will receive a very quick survey when you close this window, so please take a minute and complete it. And again, please feel free to sign up for more sessions, the same website where you signed up for this evening session. And within about 1 week, a recording of this session will be available on that same website. But again, thank you to all of our presenters and students. Good luck with your college search and applications. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone.